Hi, I'm Daryl Forte, owner of Everlast Software. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and how you can actually print out your private key or your wallet. Another thing I wanted to mention is there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin being fiat currency, and that simply isn't true. Fiat means government has to be involved with regulating it and controlling it, which obviously is not the case. The other thing is fiat currency is basically created out of thin air and not really backed by anything. Once again, there's misconceptions about how Bitcoin works. There is in fact a physical component, and that's your private key. If you have your private key and you encrypt it, no one else can get into it. To me, that means it's a physical thing. If you lose that private key, you lost your money. So that is the physical aspect of Bitcoin. So anyway, moving on, let's show some examples on how you can actually print out your wallet and keep it in a safe. In fact, you could even delete your digital file when you're done. Don't encourage doing that, but for those that are super paranoid, you could do that. Okay, so on the left side here I have a program to manage Bitcoins called Multibit. There's all kinds of them out there. Electrum is a really good one, but anyway, I'm just showing you Multibit, which is a simple one. So what we're going to do is here you can see this is my wallet address, so essentially it's a hash of my public key. We're going to come up to Tools and we're going to say Export Private Keys. On this tab here it says where is the wallet that we're going to be exporting. And this is my default here, and it should default to your wallet. So what you have to do is type in your password to your wallet. Then you choose where the private key is going to be exported to. And it's defaulting to the same folder, and I'm calling it mywallet_private.key. If you want to change that, you just hit export to and change it to whatever folder and file name you want. And now you want a password that you're going to use to encrypt this private key. I recommend using something different. Don't use the same password as what's in your wallet. And you simply hit Export Private Keys. So down here it says the private keys were exported. The export file could be read incorrectly, and the private keys match the wallet contents. Okay, so we're done with that part. So we can minimize this. And now what I'm going to do is show you a program that you probably want to get to make this more secure and to make it printable. So the first program is called Base64 Encoder. It's a free open source program on SourceForge. I will include the URL at the bottom of this video, but it's basically sourceforge.net/projects/base64 encoder. You can see it up here. So once you download that by clicking the download here, you'll get a zip file that you'll extract, and inside there you're going to find a program called Base64 encoder. We're not going to use it yet. There's still something else we're going to use to actually encrypt our private key file again. We're essentially double encrypting it just for the sake of saying maybe there's a vulnerability in multi-bits encryption. So let's be extra secure and do something different. So we're bringing up the Bitcoin folder. That's where the private key was. And there it is. You can see it has today's date and time. And if we look at the contents of this using what's called a hex editor, it shows us what's inside there. If you look on the right side here, there is the actual text of this file, and you can see it's encrypted and it's actually already Base64 encoded. This left side you can ignore. These are just hexadecimal values for what is the text on the right. But basically this file is 132 bytes. So 132 characters, that's pretty darn small. So that can easily be printed out. In fact, let me show you what it looks like in Notepad so that you can see to print this out. So that's it. So if you'd send that to your printer, that's what would go right now. But once again, we want to be extra secure. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my encryption product called Encrypt, and I'm going to type in, I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to type in another password, and I'm going to uncheck the box to say permanently delete the original file after encryption. We do not want that because we want to keep our private key there for now. But we just say OK, and what it does is it creates another file. Same file name, but it ends with .esenc. If we look at that in a hex editor, you can see it grew in size a little bit, and here is the text on the right side. Some of this here is unprintable characters. That is why we're going to have to use that base64 encoder now. So what we do is we're going to flip back to the base64 encoder. We're going to start it, and it's asking us for the file. So we're going to open the encrypt file that was just created. And here is the base64 encoded text for that, which you can actually print out. But what we're going to do is copy it, and then we're going to go back to our Bitcoin folder. We're going to make a new text document. We're going to call it encrypted base64, just so we know it's in. Just leave it as a txt file. Paste this in, and we can really just get rid of this part that goes up to base64 comma and save it. This is our file that we will now send to a printer. So you just print it out, and I will stop the video and start it again to show you what the printout looks like. Okay guys, I'm back, and I have a printout of what was sent to the printer, and the resolution on my camera is really low where you're not seeing the text probably. But essentially all that it is that base64 encoded text, which is this. So that's what was sent to the printer. So now you can take this printout, put it in a safe somewhere, fireproof safe, safe deposit box somewhere that no one else has access to. Now what's funny about that is it really doesn't matter if you leave this on a desk. As long as you had a really good password that no one else knows, they won't be able to get into this. We've double encrypted essentially. But I still recommend putting it in a fireproof safe or something like that to protect it from natural disasters. So now that we have our printout, we could delete the multi-bit encrypted private key. If you have my products, you could use ES-Shred to do that. And then you just say OK to permanently delete, and it was permanently deleted. But I hope this helps to show that there is basically a physical side to Bitcoin, and you can get rid of the digital files and just keep a paper copy that's encrypted. And you could encrypt it as many layers as you want. You don't have to use my product, Encrypt. You could use 7-zip. It has built-in encryption, and that's a compression program. But you always want to use the base64 encoder once you have produced the file, so that when you print it, it has readable characters. The reason for that is when we go to reproduce the file on a computer later, you're going to be typing this in. So if you get one character wrong, it's not going to decrypt properly. You'll lose the wallet. So you got to make sure that you have the exact characters that you need and that they won't deteriorate over time. That's the other thing to think about. You may want to laminate it, protect it from the elements. But regardless, when you type that back in, you would then perform a base64 decode on the file. So you just find a free utility out there to decode it. That will produce the encrypted file. In my case, I would get back this esenc file. So then I would use encrypt to decrypt the file, and I would type in the password, and it would reproduce the original wallet, which was then the multi-bit file. And from there you could get inside of a multi-bit. But the whole concept that I talked about here, I know there's a lot of steps, but it can apply to any program. So it doesn't matter what your wallet program is. You can encrypt it, your private key, using whatever program you want, base64 encode it, print it out, delete your files. Someday when you want to spend your Bitcoin, type it all in, and then recreate your files by base64 decoding and decrypting. So I hope this was entertaining and it provides some information for you, and I'll see you next time.